program, we've been together, and I get to talk about it. That 2009 season, I got chills. That 2009 season will never, ever, ever be replicated. That's impossible. Me, zero. Anyway, I got my cleats with me too because I want my back. Steve Smith.
Right.
T.O. twice. Calvin Johnson.
Was it Randy Moss too?
Randy Moss twice.
I don't think you was that prepared that game.
No.
In the world of professional football, few players have managed to etch their name into the history books as firmly as Darrelle Revis did in 2009. With a combination of unmatched skills, discipline, and tenacity, Revis transformed the cornerback position, redefining expectations and showing what elite defensive play truly means. Statistically, his 2009 season stands as one of the most remarkable seasons in NFL history, not only highlighting his individual prowess, but also significantly impacting his team's success. Darrelle Revis entered the 2009 season as a player already recognized for his talent, but that year would elevate his status to the best cornerback in the league. Revis was a unique player, a physical and technically sound player with the ability to run with any receiver. With his 4.38 speed and technique to play lockdown coverage, it was almost impossible to catch any passes against Revis. In addition to his pass defense, Revis was also an effective tackler, recording 87 total tackles during his rookie season. His ability to engage in run support made him a complete player, effectively allowing him to shut down the entire side of the field.
Now that you got that receiver on your island, you can keep him there for the whole game. But make sure you name your island. They call mine Revis.
The backdrop to Revis' 2009 season was a turbulent time for the New York Jets. Coming off a promising but inconsistent 2008 campaign, the Jets made significant changes to their roster, including the addition of quarterback Mark Sanchez and head coach Rex Ryan. Expectations were high. The Jets hoped to build a playoff caliber team, and Revis was considered the cornerstone of their defensive strategy.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
The 2009 season saw Revis post one of his most impressive stat lines. He recorded 6 interceptions and 31 pass defenses, both the highest mark of his career. He also added 54 tackles, 47 of them being solo tackles. His ability to shut down opposing receivers was unmatched, and he often faced off against the best receivers, routinely holding them in check. During that season, he held 11 different receivers to under 35 yards, something that hasn't been done in almost a decade. Revis' first victim that season was NFL legend Andre Johnson, who really doesn't need an introduction. Andre Johnson was probably one of the best receivers of the 2010s, and ironically had one of his better seasons in 2009. But he didn't have a great game when he faced Revis. In his first game, he only caught 4 balls for 35 yards the entire day. This was an impressive start to Revis' campaign, as Andre Johnson was probably one of the best receivers in the NFL at the time, and also one of the most physical, but Revis was up to the challenge. And if you thought that was impressive, well, week 2 wasn't any easier of a matchup. Week 2 saw Revis face off against Randy Moss, who is a Hall of Famer and probably the second best receiver of all time. Coming into that week, he'd just come off a game where he caught 12 balls for 141 yards, so this was going to be a pretty big challenge. Well, a challenge for some corners. Revis, again, did what he did and absolutely shut Moss down. That day, he held the Hall of Famer to 4 catches for 24 yards, and he caught an interception. Pretty impressive stuff. A few weeks later, he faced off against Marcus Colston, who was a pretty underrated receiver for the time. However, that season, no one was getting the best of Revis, and it was the same deal with Marcus Colston. Colston was held to a pedestrian 2 catches for a measly 33 yards. While the Jets ultimately ended up losing this game, their best receiver was held in check for pretty much the entire game. The next player to take a trip to Revis Island was none other than Terrell Owens, who again was another Hall of Fame caliber player. Now, if you thought those other performances were impressive, this one was even better. Revis was able to hold T.O. to only 13 yards on 3 catches. Truly one of his best games that season. A few weeks later in Week 10, Revis and the Jets would travel up to New England to face once again Randy Moss. Revis would pick up right where he left off against Moss, holding the Hall of Famer to again under 35 yards. However, Moss would end up getting his, as he did catch a touchdown this game, one of only 3 touchdowns Revis would give up that season. Next on the list was Carolina Panthers legend Steve Smith Sr., Mr. Ice Up himself. Probably one of the most underrated players of the 2000s and a Hall of Fame caliber receiver. Against Revis, Smith had probably his worst game ever as a pro, catching only 1 pass for 5 yards and celebrating like he caught a touchdown. On top of that, Revis caught 2 interceptions himself, one being a pick 6 to start the game off. Revis truly earned his nickname of Revis Island on games like this.
Intercepted. It looked like it hit a receiver in the back. Darrelle Revis will go the distance for a touchdown.
In his final 3 games, Revis would play his best ball yet, facing 3 All-Pro receivers in Roddy White, Reggie Wayne, and Chad Ochocinco, holding them all under 35 yards, and even holding Chad Ochocinco to no catches for no yards. Once again living up to his nickname of Revis Island, and also leaving all 3 receivers frustrated and confused. Revis's remarkable performance did not go unnoticed. He was selected to his first Pro Bowl and earned first-team All-Pro honors. Additionally, he found himself in discussion for the NFL Defensive Player of the Year, cementing his reputation as a game-changer on the field. However, he did not win the award, as it went to Charles Woodson and his 9 interceptions. While Revis didn't match the interception production of Woodson, he was undoubtedly the best lockdown corner in the game. The 2009 season marked a turning point for Darrelle Revis, setting the stage for what would become one of the most celebrated careers for a cornerback in NFL history. His ability to neutralize opposing offenses' best weapon not only elevated the Jets, but also reshaped the league's perception of cornerbacks. The term Revis Island became a popular moniker, symbolizing his ability to isolate and dominate the best receivers in the game. Fans and analysts alike began to see Revis not just as a player, but as a phenom, a cornerback who could single-handedly change the dynamics of a game. The success of the Jets that season, coupled with Revis's performances, made him a household name, securing his place in football lore. Darrelle Revis's 2009 season was a remarkable display of skill and determination that reshaped his career and the landscape of the NFL. It's a season we as fans might not see for another 20 years, with standout performances against elite receivers, individual accolades, and a key role in the Jets' playoff push. Revis established himself as one of the greatest cornerbacks to ever play the game. His legacy from that season endures, influencing future generations of football players and fans alike, and solidifying his status as an icon of defensive excellence in professional football.
And this game is underway.
Right away. Great technique, and it made me mad because he dressed so ugly in his uniform. I'm like, oh, he got these high-ass socks. Yeah. He got, remember how the mannequin in the locker room, how you should dress?
Yes.
That's how he was out there on the field.
Got him every pad. They got him every pad.
Every pad. I'm like, oh, I'm finna sauce this motherfucker.